And we are now live.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, I usually will go about 5 seconds before, so just now, just waiting for seconds before. Alrighty then. So so I did. I'm sorry, I don't have the. Got three people in here now. Yay, three people viewing. Anyways, I don't have a lot of money, so I can't spend money, but I can at
Yeah.
least like and share the stuff. So that's what I
Yeah.
did. Went down from 3 to 1, but I don't think we actually lost two viewers, but YouTube and StreamYard are just being screwy.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. Don't worry about it, Mike. Uh, it's over, so it is what it is.
Yeah, so
I try. I tried. I got further than I did the last time. So, right.
so is your campaign complete then?
Yeah. Well, the Kickstarter one, anyways.
The Kickstarter one.
Yeah.
Were you
That
able,
was
were
the
you able to
that.
hit your goal or no?
No,
Uh, Sorry to hear.
but like I said, I've done Kickstarter two other times. I didn't get my goal for either of those, but I've come closer to my goal this time.
Hmm. Was it one of those things where each time you did it, you got a little closer to your goal, or is it like
Yeah,
one you
yeah.
got pretty close, the other you were further away, and then is it just steadily where you're
Well,
getting closer to it?
the first time I didn't get a lot of people contributing, and my goal was very far off. So I didn't even come close, really. And even if I had it at what I had it at, like for I think the last two times,
Hmm.
you know, I still would have. I was still would have been fairly far off. So, but this last time is the time I got the most money. So, I got $395 Canadian
All right. So you
of
at least you made
$500.
some money. Maybe you didn't hit your goal, but at least you made some money there, right? Or
Well, unfortunately, unlike what's the name of it, Indiegogo, they do not have a flexible goal, so I don't get any of that money.
ah. So basically, you raise it, and then they get to keep all of it, basically.
No, 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 no. Nobody pays any money out or whatever
Oh.
because I didn't get my goal.
So it
Nobody's
just
out in.
the monies just get returned back to
Yeah.
the people then.
Well, technically, they haven't even collected it yet. Only
Oh,
if you get funded do they collect it.
okay. Yeah, so yeah.
I might end up doing a new campaign in the new year with them.
Well, and as I always suggest, you should try to hit up RJ to see if. Well, you did a show with RJ, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
All right.
And I will like I'm in the after I get all my Canadian Shield 2 and Snowdrift 1 colored. Um, the next, I got to work on a couple other things as well as I'm working on this, but I'm gonna work on finish working remastering number one, and then I'm gonna do a campaign for it and put Canadian Shield 2 as an add-on and Snowdrift 1 as an add-on. In case people want to get it. You know,
All right.
and I'll do that on Kickstarter, and maybe that'll get me my bucks.
All right. Well, I wish you luck. Um, so
But we're
yeah,
not
I'm,
here
I'm,
for.
I'm, I'm letting you promote and talk about your book a little bit here because I'm just waiting to see if we can get some more people in it before. So
Yeah,
tonight is going to be kind of an open panel kind of situation where granted, I'm still going to be kind of guiding the conversation towards a particular you know subject, obviously with it being Halloween. So talking about Halloween specials, cartoons, and even cartoons that we grew up on that maybe they weren't necessarily Halloween, but they had like Scooby Doo, like those meddling kids kind of
yeah,
cartoons, and Casper the Friendly Ghost, Ruby Ghoulies, you know, um, you know. So primarily cartoons, maybe some anime if we get it, it goes down that way, or even comics. But primarily it'll be cartoons because we don't talk enough about cartoons a lot because a whole lot being reported on them usually. Hmm. So how was your weekend?
Pretty good for sure. Mm.
Now you guys celebrate? Do you guys celebrate Halloween up in Canada?
Yeah, it's pretty
Okay.
much exactly the same as there in the states.
Hey
So
Woody. Hey, look who's here, Rick.
hey, Woody. Some people really go all out for it and decorate their house. Some people do haunted houses. Um, some people do lots of some people just give out treats at the door. That's it. Some
Yeah.
people might put up a few decorations. Although really, I'm not sure when the decorating started. The major decorating started in the states, but it only started maybe 15, 20 years ago, as far as
Oh,
I
in
know.
Canada. Well,
Yeah.
what's kind of funny here is now we've got people actually putting up Halloween decorations a month in advance.
Yeah, it's
I'm
sort of
not
like
kidding you. At towards towards the latter half of September, there are already people in my neighborhood who had Halloween decorations up.
oh yeah, there's some people that do that here too. They're the people, like I said, that go all out.
Yeah,
Halloween appears to be some people's Christmas
yeah.
for
Well,
decorations.
for many years, I actually you know would actually hand out the candy here at my house where I would just where I'd sit at the door and watch kids and families come up and enjoyed that. But a couple years ago, stopped in part because at the time my dad was sick. So he was like it was just before he passed.
Yeah.
So we couldn't actually have people coming up to the door, obviously. Plus, it was in the midst of the COVID restrictions and all that. So,
Mm,
um, so I haven't done it since. So,
yeah.
uh,
Well, we didn't do a lot when we were in the house. We did it a couple years, giving out the candy or whatever. I guess we just couldn't be bothered.
well, in my case,
Eh,
I like the interaction. It's like, you know, you. The idea is, you got these little kids coming up to your door, right? In their costume, whatever their costume is, and you having that interaction with them, and you have, in terms of like, oh, so, and what are you supposed to be? Ah, you're a witch, huh? And just having that
yeah.
little exchange with them,
Yeah.
totally innocent, totally, you know,
Yeah, I get what you
fun,
mean.
you know, um,
Yeah,
but the thing
but
is,
now, I was gonna say, but now me and my mom are in an apartment, so it's this.
yeah, what are you saying? Oh, it's nice to live in a neighborhood where you do that. Yeah.
Oh
Well,
well,
okay. Here's one of the things I've been noticing for like the last 5-10 years, though. Now I don't know where if it's the same across the states or even across Canada or anything like that, but I've noticed the whole tradition of trick or treating seems to be dying off. People don't, at least where I'm at here, it doesn't seem like people or families are doing it as much as they did when I was a kid. Now maybe that's just my particular area, whatever. I don't know how it is in other parts of the states or in Canada, but it
yeah,
just seems to be done. Now I haven't I get kind of some of the idea. One, people are more wary about you know people don't know your neighbors as much for one, and then
yeah,
also but also you have churches doing more alternatives to Halloween as well as
yeah,
communities as well.
Yeah,
where
that's true. But I was thinking maybe the one thing too, it could be maybe there's less family with the younger kids in your neighborhood now. You
yeah,
know?
that's true too. That's true too. Well, granted, we picked up because I have like I do have actually three neighbors, one to my left and then two across the street that I know do have young kids.
Yeah,
Now my next door neighbor to my right side here has a younger kid too, but his two older kids are like teenagers already. So, and I know
yeah.
sometimes with teenagers, they don't do as when they get to high school and young adulthood, it's no longer about going out trick or treating. It's more like going out to a
Apart
Halloween party at somebody's house. Doing that
uh,
stuff.
and the other thing, maybe the people with younger kids that are in your neighborhood won't necessarily celebrate Halloween. You're like, and I could be wrong about this. Take a Muslim family; they might not celebrate it,
Well,
even
yeah,
though it's just really
like I
nowadays.
do know I do know well I know the one to my right here. They do celebrate it. They do go out trick or treating. They'll probably take their young. Yeah, actually, they have two young kids. They have a son who's I think like 7 or 8 now, and a baby. So they'll probably be taking them out trick or treating. The ones to my left here, um, they I think will be taking their son out trick or treating as well because I did talk to them about said I asked them, hey, are you excited about Halloween? They go yeah, and then that one's across the
Yeah,
street. They might be doing something, they might not. I don't know.
yeah. And I say Muslim, but I don't know. Maybe some other faith or whatever. Although like
Well, there
say,
there are there are there are still some more stern Christian households that don't
yeah,
necessarily celebrate Halloween, at least not in the way what they do is they'll usually. Yeah, I know some churches will do kind of a trunk or
yeah,
treat in their own church parking lot, but instead of
yeah,
calling it Halloween, they decide to call it like a harvest festival or something like that.
yeah, yeah. I've been to churches that do that. Like, I'm not sure whether the one that I'm going to is right now is just too small to do that. The two bigger churches I think that I was involved in did something along that lines.
Hmm.
So um, but yeah, that could be a reason too.
Well, it's not just churches though doing that too. It's also community organizations, doing it as well. I
Yeah,
think I think part of it is because I think a lot of people are just more wary about just simply taking their kids out around, their own neighborhoods. They'd rather go to some big, public event than just
yeah,
walking around their own neighborhoods to um, trick or treat. Because part of it too is there's the whole idea of okay, we want to make sure when they check the candy, obviously they want to make sure that it's candy and not other things or that the candy may have been
yeah,
messed with in some
yeah.
way.
And that's funny. From what I heard, that there's been that scare since the '70s, I think, maybe
Yeah.
earlier. But as far as I know, I think only ever once was anybody ever found a razor blade or something like that in a apple or whatever, and that was after the scare started,
Yeah.
like 20 years after, something like that.
Well, I think particularly back in the 80s there after the Adam Walsh case, people really became more aware
Yeah,
and more diligent about protecting their kids. You know,
I
I don't know.
you have
Do
to
you know what I'm talking about?
remind me. I'm not
Okay,
completely sure.
Adam Walsh was the son of John Walsh, who eventually was the guy who started up America's Most Wanted here in the States. He basically became a victims advocate. Adam Walsh was back in I think it was 1980 or 81, sometime in there. Adam Walsh had been abducted from a shopping from a mall shopping parking lot from a
Hmm.
mall from a shopping mall parking lot. So he was just abducted. He just disappeared, and I think they eventually found the guy who abducted him. But that's really when parents started becoming more and more diligent about protecting their kids and making sure,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
keeping an eye on them.
Well, yeah, definitely abductions have happened for who knows how long, but yeah, it's just I'm more thinking along the lines of there's been the scare, like I said, since the '70s of people tampering with Halloween food or candy
Hmm.
or whatever they give you. Yet
Yeah.
I don't, like I said, I think it's only ever happened once, and it was after the scare started. But nobody's ever, other than that one time, I don't think anybody's ever had it, or
Hmm.
it's ever been reported or whatever on news or whatever. I can't say for sure, but because surely the news isn't going to get everything. But as far as I know, news reports, there's only ever been one news report of it happening.
Yeah.
But what you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, anyways, we're at the 15-minute mark. I was hoping that we'd have a few more people in here at least, but uh, maybe RJ is still doing his thing, I guess. But let's check something here. Oh, he just apparently, I guess he just finished. He just finished because I'm just looking at RJ's page right now. I guess he just finished the show tonight, so hopefully he'll be in here in a few minutes. Then, um,
Yeah.
yeah. So, anyways, I send him a little reminder.
Although I actually Saturday I was at a pumpkin and costume party. I got let's see. I'll show you. I carved a pumpkin. I'll, sh- I'll show it
Yeah,
to
I
you.
sent out quite a few invitations for. Oh, look at that! Sent out quite a
Uh,
few invitations for the stream tonight. In the hopes that maybe at least we get a small group of people. I know that Chris and Diane said they might try to pop in, while they're handing out, albeit it might be more at the latter end for them because it's like, where they're at, it's like just after 9 now. So if anything, the trick or treating would be winding down now.
so there is the person with me that helped me uh, carve it. The pumpkin that I carved, drew up the face and all four. And then I went and did, since I was pretending to be a Green Lantern, I
Hmm.
went and did something else. Let's see.
Woody, I think, is reminding me of something here. 2 years ago tonight, you had that Canuck on. Well, if
Would that be me? I'm a
I
Canuck.
don't know if it was you. Well, at the time, the only Canucks I would have known. Well, let's see, toys. Possibly it was either Toys, Action Toys Channel, or it could have been Crumbion and Mr. Hop from KitchenerCon. Those are the only Canucks I knew of um, that would have probably been on at that time. But
So I went
Hop,
with the
okay,
one
Hop,
photo. What Hoppy? I
yeah,
went
Mr.
with the
Hop.
one. Yeah, I went with the one photo and sort of did some alterations to it.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Made the pumpkin green.
Here. Let's see if I can trying to.
Click spotlight and then click me down below. There should be a little box.
All right. Well, hold on. There we go. I was trying to, and I'm going to let you talk about that for a minute or so. I got to step away from the computer real quick. I'll
Uh,
be right back.
it was just a costume party through a Christian singles group I go to, and at the last minute, I made myself a Green Lantern costume with the Green Lantern T-shirt that I had that had the green. So put on a pair of green tights, my shoes, and a mask, some green gloves. There we have it, Green Lantern. Although you can't see it, the mask is a darker green. And although I didn't do it real good, I made the jack o' lantern look like it's a construct coming from the ring. What do you think, Woody? You like my photo manipulation? Me as Green Lantern? Looks great. So, also, um, Snowdrift should be done and to the printers this week. Snowdrift number one. And then hopefully by middle or third, three quarters of the way through, Canadian Shield 2 should be done as well. So let's see. Ready to fly out of the screen at me. Yeah. Ready to fly out of the scream at you? No.
All right, I'm back.
Uh,
Yeah, let's see. I see. Woody. Let's see. Looks great. What he was saying that looks great. Um, ready to fly out. Okay, and scream at me. Okay. So, anyways, now here in the states, of course, we've had we have, of course, It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. We've had a few
yeah.
other cartoons over the years that have had their Halloween specials. Um, I think even and I think even up there in Canada, if you can correct me if I'm wrong here, Rick. Didn't Wallace and Gromit have a Halloween special at one point?
Yeah, but that's not. I'm not. Wasn't really into them. I know of it.
Yeah, I know of it too. It was the only bit of Canadian animation I was aware of, so that's why I mentioned it.
Yeah, but the
But
only I know there's more that we had more than this, but I can only really remember the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
yeah, I think that's the one most people remember. It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, about Charlie Brown and his friends trying to solve the
Yeah,
mystery of the Great
Linus.
Pumpkin.
Linus.
What was that?
Linus
Yeah,
was
Linus.
his friend.
Yeah, the one with the blanket.
Yeah, his security blanket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. What Halloween kids Halloween specials? Kids TV Halloween special.
And Woody at once had to go. And Linus could play Mad Beethoven on the piano. Yeah. Uh huh. Well, no, actually, I don't know if that was that might have been Schroeder actually. Schroeder was the one who played the piano, I believe. Um, I think Casper had a Halloween, had a few Halloween specials over the years. Um, God, you're right. Oh, God,
Uh, definitely, I'm looking on Wikipedia. Definitely a lot of stuff with having had Halloween. The Chipmunks.
yeah.
The thing is, I've probably seen them as episodes of TV shows. A lot of them, unlike
Yeah. Well, I
uh,
mean, yeah. Well, I'm sure that yeah. Sometimes, particularly with the Saturday morning cartoons, they had their Halloween episodes, around Halloween, obviously. Um, but where you'd actually have like a prime, like I think it's a Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown was one of the only actual like prime time, animated, Halloween specials.
yeah, which throws you off. I think when trying to think of how specials or your favorite Halloween, like movie. I'm sure there's maybe TV stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as I said, a lot of this was just to get the conversation going about it and
Yeah,
see what we could find out. Um,
of course, there's the actual scary movies, Halloween.
mhm. Like now, more of a live. Disney had a live action movie series for Halloween that was pretty good. Of course, one of the that starred Kimberly Brown and the late Debbie Reynolds,
Yeah.
Halloween Town. That series was always pretty good. Um,
Okay. I don't remember this, but this one seems like I think it might have been good. Halloween is Grinch Night.
uh, yeah, I think that was one of like whoever like produced the animated specials for the Cat in the Hat and all that. Probably whoever
Did
was producing those were probably trying to.
I never knew Jacob Tutu had another movie or whatever. Jacob Tutu and the Halloween boo blah blah. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I want to get the Jacob Tutu and the Hooded Fang to show somebody, but I don't know where to get it.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm just going through this list. Oh, I think there was a couple of ones with the headless horseman.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I think I do remember the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. They probably did. I think don't know. Maybe Rankin Bass may have done an animated version of the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. That's the one that had the headless horseman in it.
In 1979, there was the Misadventures of Ichabod Crane.
Hmm.
That may be the one that I'm remembering. I don't know. That was pretty good. I liked that. Oh, that was in 2013. I'd have to go back and watch that. The Smurfs and the Legend of Smurfy Hollow.
Yeah, yeah, you had those two. Let's see.
I can't wait to have my comics to be able to do these particular theme stuff when you know it's coming out. People, it's gonna be in their hands at Christmas. So
The one that you were talking about that happened in '79, was that a CBS after school special?
it didn't say. It just
Once Upon a Midnight Scary, a three-story horror anthology of live-action shorts narrated by Vincent Price, features Sleepy Hollow segment with Rene Aubert Noir as Ichabod Crane. Um, Rene probably, let's see, among his credits would also include Clayton from Benson, Odo from Deep Space Nine, and then his voice credits would include Desaad from the Super Friends cartoons, and even some of the later appearances in Justice League Unlimited.
yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, oh, there was actually a 1999 Canadian American television film, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, I seen the '99 one there, but I was trying to think back for the one, maybe it was '80s, maybe it was '70s. I don't know.
Yeah, but
And
anyways,
then, although this isn't really Halloween, well, it's Halloween, but it's not. But it was out for more than Halloween, and I'm not sure whether you would have ever seen it. The House of Frightenstein.
House of Frightenstein.
Yeah,
Haven't heard of that one, but
yeah. Well, it was an actual TV show where they had the werewolf, they had Frankenstein type monster, like the werewolf was like a disc jockey on the show and all that.
mm-hmm.
It was actually pretty good. The House of Frightenstein. Well, I'm not sure whether they didn't actually, they might not have had Frankenstein, but they did have an Igor type character. It was really good. If you can check it out on YouTube, I would
Yeah.
suggest doing
All right,
so.
Rick, I'm gonna step away from the computer for a quick moment here. I'll be right back. Okay.
Okie dokie. So let's see. I'm trying to look at all these Halloween specials, see if there's anything that's worth mentioning. Winnie the Pooh and Tigger too. Okay, so let's see. I should look that out. Show house house uh Frankenstein. There it is. Well, they did have Dracula. Vincent Price actually even was on it a couple times. Let's get my Chrome.
All right. Well, anyways,
The Hilarious House of Frightenstein. So Wolfman, Igor, a witch, Dracula.
Yeah, I haven't sent Tim a link earlier, but I guess he didn't want to come in. I guess or um.
Maybe he hasn't got it yet.
Well, no, I sent everybody the links earlier today. So
Yeah, well, it depends on whether they're on Facebook. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. Vincent Price was even on the House of Frightenstein.
I mean, I'm gonna go off just one more time here. Try something here.
There's a thing. Billy Van. I think did I meet him? Just meet him? I might have met him at Comic Con, Hamilton Comic Con. The Hilarious House of Frightenstein. I'd play some YouTube of it, but um, I don't want to get struck. I don't want Mike to get struck. Okay, so let's take that off. We don't need that no more. Show my ugly mug. This should be enough to scare the people. Okay, so uh,
All right, so I'm still waiting for RJ to come in. Let's see. Because I did have some idea of where I might want to take a portion of the conversation. Because here in the States, and now I know you're about the same age, so you might remember this too. I don't know. Well, depends on if they aired up in Canada too. Um, Particularly from Scooby Doo was the start of this particular genre in '69. This particular genre was pretty popular on Saturday mornings throughout the '70s and into the early '80s. Those meddling kids genre.
yeah,
Started off with Scooby Doo, but then you had a number of other shows that came out throughout the '70s from both Hanna Barbera and even some from Ruby Spears. They would include, of course, Josie and the Pussycats, Jabba Jaw, Speed Buggy, you know,
yeah,
Uber and the Ghost Chasers, Fang Face. You know, you could even argue that maybe like Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels and Casper and the Angels were also kind of part of that too, in terms of where you'd have a group of kids who was accompanied by some form of anthropomorphic character. They'd go out and solve mystery. Let's see, Funky Phantom's another one I just remembered too. So, don't know if you watched a lot of those up in Canada,
yeah,
or you were if you had a
yeah.
lot.
Well, I'm not sure how many of them watched or knew about, but I watched some of them. Obviously, I watched Scooby Doo. I watched a bunch of Hanna Barbera stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's where a lot of them came. But these were cartoons that were like the bulk. Were
Yeah.
about half of the shows that were like you had Scooby Doo, you had Jabberjaw, which is also Hanna Barbera, Josie and the Pussycats. In fact, you even had some crossover too. I know, like in '73 when they came out with the new Scooby Doo movies, and they'd have a lot of the guest appearances. You'd have a number of other.
Yeah. I think my biggest problem is, especially during the 70s, like 73 is when I was born. So a lot of these things, don't remember
Well, they
seeing.
were in syndication here in the States for a while.
Yeah. I don't remember a lot of the. I know there was a lot of different ones, as you were pointing out. I don't remember a lot of them in syndication or getting reruns here. From that would say, we'll say 75, 78 and under, because 78 I'm 5, so then I'm starting
78
to.
and earlier, you mean 78
Yeah,
and earlier.
yeah,
Which I can get. So unless you either like sat around watching a bunch of syndicated older cartoons when you were a kid, like I did,
yeah,
you probably didn't. You might. I can get your point. You might not have known as much about them, but
yeah,
yeah. But like Funky Phantom, I think came out in '76 because the main anthropomorphic character of Funky Phantom was I think I don't remember the name of the character, but he was basically
yeah,
a phantom from 1776. He was a ghost of a old revolutionary
yeah.
soldier.
Some
So
of these I might have seen clips of or whatever over the years, but like certain ones seem to rise to the top of popularity, like Scooby Doo. You
mhm.
know, you know, I do remember Josie and the Pussycats, Josie and the Pussycats in Outer Space.
Yeah.
You know, I don't remember really watching them, but knowing of them.
Oh, we've probably heard about. A lot of people heard a lot about him over time. Jabba 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 jaw. Jabberjaw was basically an anthropomorphic shark who
Yeah,
accompanied Kid. Now they weren't in space. Well, I think maybe the last season they were in space, but they were actually underwater. They lived underwater apparently.
yeah,
So you had Speed Buggy, which was Speed Buggy. They they were probably more like young adults than really kids per se. They were probably in their early 20s. But Speed Buggy was about an anthropomorphic, you know, dune
car.
buggy. Yeah, dune buggy. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I think it's more closer to the 80s when I start remembering seeing stuff on a more thing basis. But that's like I'm 5. What am I going to remember, right?
mhm.
From seven, like 78, June of 78 is when I turned 5. So
Yeah. Well,
it's
as I said, there's always a chance that maybe, I don't know how it would have worked up in Canada there, but maybe you had a chance to like I did here in the States, where you could have watched some of these shows in syndication.
oh
Maybe at
yeah,
the time you didn't know they were older than they actually were, but
yeah,
Scooby Doo was obviously one that was well syndicated. It was
yeah.
like a number of stations carried it for a while.
Yeah,
So.
because I remember Scooby Doo, and I didn't realize it was as old
Well,
as it was.
Scooby Doo was probably of all those meddling kids cartoons. Scooby Doo was probably the most
Popular?
popular, most well known. Now, the franchise itself started in '69, but it had a number of different incarnations well up until modern day here.
Yeah,
You had the new Scooby Doo movies in '73, in which they did start having, guest stars. You know, you had some episodes where you had the Addams Family even guest star on
yeah.
2 or 3 episodes. Actually,
Batman,
it's kind of
Robin.
funny because I remember I was talking to RJ about this recently because he did a review of the new Scooby Doo movies a few months ago, I think, a couple months back. and he was saying that they had the collection had all the episodes except for the ones that featured the Adams Family. And the reason they didn't have the ones with the Adams Family in it, because I don't know if it was John Astin himself or his family, but they basically would not release the rights to be put on the CD. They just would not allow, because as you know, John Astin was Gomez Adams in the Adams Family
Yeah.
franchise. So, um, and you had, of course, the late Ted Cassidy, who was Lurch, who actually provided the voice for a few other animated characters, including Black Manta, Bizarro,
Yeah.
and Aquaman in the Challenger of Super Friends. Um, so yeah, so hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
uh, I'm just seeing if there's any indication that RJ's been on or not, but on
So, but that's for my favorite, probably by default, since it's the only one I can really remember, would be Charlie Brown's The Great Pumpkin, my favorite Halloween movie.
yeah. Well, again, that's probably I think the most well known of them of
Yeah,
all of them.
popular.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, there are a few other like kind of quote unquote spooky cartoons we could talk about too. Like, we talked about those meddling kids one. There's of course
Uh,
Casper the Friendly Ghost
oh
from
yeah, I
Studio
remember
Studios.
Casper.
Yeah. Now they came out. They were produced at a time when movie studios were still producing a lot of these cartoons as shorts. They
Yep.
use them as kind of icebreakers before movies to sit there and
Entertain people.
yeah before they got into the main crust of the movie. So one of the ones I remember in particular um, was the one I think called the Time Machine. Where now I don't know if you've watched how many 50s cartoon 50s animated short you watch and what they thought of what technology would look like and what like things like time machines would actually look like with all the lights and all the handles and all the switches and all that. But I
Yeah.
remember in that particular one where Caster actually goes into the screen and goes back to the cave, and he sees a caveman dragging a woman to his cave by the hair, and they get so scared that they switch roles and go back to her. It's like they scared them so much that they scared them out of their traditional roles there, where she's actually dragging him by the hair back to her cave. So,
Hold on a sec, Mike.
all right. And I'm thinking that's Rick's mom right there. I guess your mom was trying to get your attention there.
Yes. There's some Coke, not Coke, but cola and another thing of orange juice and Sprite or Sprite Light in the fridge. Okay. Yeah, my mom. Well, she got a few hours work. Not that she needed it. And,
Hmm.
um, she
Yeah.
she got home just now. Obviously,
Ah,
surprise. Well, she didn't startle surprise me, but surprised me.
hmm. So, yeah. So there was Casper. A few others. Like
Yeah.
Groovy Ghoulies is another one. Now, Groovy Ghoulies is the one I watched in syndication. Don't know if you heard about that one before. I know RJ would have known more about that one.
Sounds vaguely familiar. I remember
It's a
Casper
Funimation
watching.
production. It originally came out in '72, and then they put together a bunch of Filmations series together in the late '70s as Groovy Ghoulies and Friends. Um,
Okay.
Basically, the Groovy Ghoulies originally started out as Sabrina and the Groovy Ghoulies. Sabrina as in Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yeah. I remember more Casper. I remember watching Casper on TV,
Yeah,
not as a short set of movie theater.
yeah, probably as part of the Harvey Tunes show
Yeah.
package,
Yeah.
in which they had like they had Casper, they had little Audrey, Baby Huey, Hector and Catnip, Tommy Tortoise and Mohair. You know,
Yeah. Baby Huey.
yeah, I mentioned him already.
Oh, that's
Kind of the dim-witted big baby duckling,
yeah. Yeah.
and particularly some of his the episodes featuring him and his father were pretty comical there too. Um,
Yeah. I watched a little short thing about a bunch of cartoons, uh, the top cartoons or whatever. It was like there were so many that I did not know about. It was like wow, cool. I want to draw some of this stuff.
uh,
Like I think there was one called Red and Rough or something like that. Rough and Tough.
Ready?
Rough and Ready.
That was I think that was actually one of the first regular Saturday morning cartoons. That one started all the way back in 1957.
Yeah, but that it was neat to watch it. Them show them as went by. It's like okay, I think I saved the thing somewhere so I can go back to it and after I get done this my regular stuff that I got to do, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
probably start doing little shorts where I draw these characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Sabrina and the Groovy Ghoulies, Sabrina's filming on it, and then the Groovy Ghoulies were made up of like movie monsters, but in very but kind of more in the counterculture. They were a rock band. You had Drac, Frankie, and Wolfie, and they were basically like a band. In fact, their whole show was like kind of a musical variety show kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
like the main theme of it was everybody shout, come on, let's hang out. It's time for the groovies get together. You're gonna see how funny they can be. Well, it's time for the Groovy Ghoulie Show. Do. So that was that one. Let's see. One of the other ones I was actually thinking that came out a little later, one you might be more aware of because it came out I think in '88 or '89, following the movie version, of course. Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah, Beetlejuice,
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Although I know about the cartoon, I did not really watch it
Yeah.
because horror wasn't really my thing. Although Beetlejuice isn't really horror, but
It was
I
more
did.
comic horror. It's like
Yeah, it's not even I didn't even watch the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, there's been a lot of stuff like that, and then on the anime side of it, there was Soul Eater that came out much later, of course. Soul Eater came out in 2004 in Japan. I think Funimation dubbed it and showed it on Funimation channel. I don't know if you'd ever seen Soul Eater or not. Rick?
Yeah, I'm here.
You didn't say anything. So for a moment, I thought you were frozen.
No.
What?
I was pretending to be frozen.
Ah, oh, trying to liven things up with a little comedy there.
Yeah.
Uh,
What? So I guess we RJ is there RJ coming or or
I'm gonna go off camera here for a quick moment. I'll be right back. I think I'm just
uh,
gonna call him.
uh, I'm not sure how long we just you and me can do this with not a lot to talk about. Okay, so it's back. It's the house of Frightenstein. So my mom brought me some little Lay's chips, little Lay's, and then Old Dutch, and a Reese's peanut butter cups. We got 4 cups. 4 cups. Oh, what's this? With mint? Oh, Franken cups. Ooh, there's green on the bottom. It's it's green, Captain. Green, I tell ya. Green, 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 green. Hey,
Oh, oh,
we got Leto Enchanted here.
okay. Yeah, Leto and one of my regulars. Um, a work duty back, and that's what RJ just messaged me on Facebook finally that I'm like, hey Leto, well hey you're here so that's good. Um, we've been
Better late
talking
than
about like
never.
reminiscing about Halloween.
Or old cartoons.
Yeah, oh yeah, with some like kind of Halloween based some Halloween based you know you know themes there.
Yeah. Well, technically, since Halloween is all about dressing up, right? As your whatever type of character. Technically, any cartoon would suffice.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, even comic books. Lots of things you can dress up for Halloween. You know, like why does Halloween have to be horror
Hmm.
or scary? You know, we have people dressing up as Spider Man, Cinderella, princesses. You know,
Yeah. If I had all the time in the world like the COVID days, I would be here often. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Woody's saying hi to you, my friend, and we got 5 people in here now. Good. So that's good. Halloween. Yeah.
Yippee
Um,
Halloween!
let's see. All right. Normally I wouldn't. I haven't been doing this just simply because of the fact I didn't necessarily want to risk having somebody like JDA come in and like. But considering I would like to I'm gonna go ahead and share the StreamYard link in the chat. And if you guys want to pop in and join in on the conversation, you're more than welcome to. I normally wouldn't, but since we do have some people in here, if you guys want to join in the
Who's Judy? I'm not sure. Leto says, "Who's Judy?" Why do you say "Who's Judy?" Or maybe I mispronounced the the way I said something maybe sound Judy. I don't know what I said.
I don't know who Judy is either, but anyways, I just put the link in if you guys want to join us in here. And I thank you guys for the like and share. Put the the StreamYard link, so if you guys want to join us in the Mike said something. Maybe I misheard. Well, yeah, I don't think I mentioned Judy, but might have sounded like it with if I was mumbling or jamming a bunch of stuff together. But
Well, you were saying something about RJ, and then you went on to
oh,
say,
that's probably that's probably what it was then. Oh, I see. What in other words? Okay, so he probably heard me say Judy, but what I was actually saying was RJ was messaged me back on Facebook that work duty beckons. So
"Oh, work duty, Judy." They sound similar.
yeah, well, if I'm jamming it all together, like RJ work duty Beck, if it gets all jammed together, it might sound like I'm saying Judy.
We figured out the mystery, and it didn't take any of those dumb kids to help us.
Laugh out loud, yeah. So let Woody, if you guys want to join in and come into the stream, I'd go. You're more than welcome to. Yeah. So anyway, so we did touch upon cartoons a bit. Let's see. Did hit on some of the. Let's see. Were there some other cartoons that I could think of that had kind of more of this? We talked about Groovy Ghoulies. We talked about Casper. We talked about those meddling kids. Those type of situations, and of course, Scooby Doo was a major franchise, as you know.
Yeah.
And it even spawned their movie. You had a bunch of movies throughout the 2000s, like Scooby Doo and the Cyber Chase, the Hex Girls. Well, even some of their early movies in the 80s, they're like Scooby Doo and the Ghoul School and Scooby Doo and the Boo Brothers.
Yeah.
Now I took a few edibles. I can barely see. All right. Okay.
Barely see straight.
Barely see straight. Okay.
Hence why the typing's not good. But you know what? It's pretty good. The only thing messed up there is straight. Straight is not too straight.
Yeah.
You dirty rat.
Yeah.
Gangsters? Are they part of Halloween?
Talked about Halloween specials. Like what am I all okay, so like probably my favorite Scooby Doo movie or Scooby Doo series of all time was probably the new Scooby Doo Adventures with all the guest stars on it. Let's see. Also, like one of my favorite movies is Scooby Doo and the Ghoul School, where Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy would actually get hired on at like an all girl, all monster girls school, basically. We had like the daughters of the monster, like you had Frankenstein's daughter, you had like the mummy's daughter. This is my daddy, mummy.
It's my mummy daddy.
Yeah.
Leno says, yeah, so what's new with pop culture these days? Or is that Pope culture?
Well, I think he's trying to say pop culture, but I think
Yeah.
Like, let's see, as far as anything new happened over the week, I know one of the big things that happened that's been getting talked a lot about today was Elon Musk did finalize his
Twitter deal, yeah.
his Twitter acquisition. So I know that's been getting I know Flash and the Quartering were talking about that quite a bit.
Yeah, but that happened last week. That happened like Thursday or Friday last week.
Yeah,
And then Elon proceeded to fire like 3 of the major people right away.
yeah. Well, well, even though some people are saying he's trying to avoid paying them by saying that they were doing some shady stuff heading into the sales, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but basically, the tiers have been very salty. Since his acquisition was made final, because now it's like now everybody's moving over to another, I guess quote unquote more progressive, website called Jungle or something like that.
Well, who cares?
Yeah.
Let's let the twit idiots go.
Well, you know the term I came up for them, right? Twidiots.
Yeah, there's that.
I just made up a portmanteau right there.
Yeah. Or just as I've also called them, to be on Twitter, you got to be a twit. Which doesn't speak too much about me.
Well, if you really think about it, because er, right, the suffix er means one who, right? So if you're a Twitter, that must mean that you're one who twits. Get that?
Leto says, or just call them twits. Oh yeah, you got it. Yeah, I've said that by now, but like I said, it doesn't say too much about me because I'm on it too and I use it. But I don't go down the Cecil stuff. I don't usually get in any Twitter fights or whatever.
I certainly don't anymore. I haven't in the last 2 or 3 years because I got off Twitter because of all that. So.
Yeah, I just use it to promote my stuff. Have people follow me, know what's going on with Cross Comics.
Yeah.
Be able to share stuff like this out there to people that follow me to hopefully bring them in here and
Yeah.
I use it often, although I just observe. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to really get into all the headaches and all that with.
Yeah,
people.
yeah. I don't want to lose. It's a good tool to use to, expand your brand and get people to know about your brand or whatever. So I don't want to lose my count over that, stupidity.
Yeah, and speaking of course of that, the branding side of it, I don't know. Here's another thing. Apparently, Elon is trying to roll over a charge to be verified. So he's basically told everybody that they have until if you want to keep your blue check mark, you have to pay $20 a month starting in January.
Okay, that's stupid in my opinion. I could see a one-time fee, but in some ways,
the idea as a private company, he's trying to make money that way. But think about it, because this is the way Yellow Flash explained it too. Is that the whole idea of the blue check mark or being verified, what became kind of a status symbol. It's like you were somebody if you had a blue check mark, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to keep that status, then you got to pay $20 a month. $240. And a lot of people are not going to. First off, a lot of people are not going to be able to do that.
Yeah. I think it should be like
particularly woke because as Yellow Flash other pointing out, a lot of them are socialists and just expect everything to be given to them.
Yeah, I can see I like you said, I can see his point. Is it's a business. He's trying to make money. That happens. I think that happens through ads a lot too. Um, but I would have actually, if you're gonna do it, I'd say about 10. I think 20 is a little too steep. You know, a 5 or 10, I get.
It may chase somebody. It may
Uh,
chase somebody Twidiots off though if it's 20 too.
yeah,
So
well, for the verified thing, but it depending on what you're using Twitter for, like, you know, it might just be a business expense at that
yeah,
point.
Rick,
Yeah,
Leto's at okay. Show us your work. Do you draw? I'm getting actually yes, Leto. He draws. He actually is a believe it or not. He's a comic book. Since we have somebody new here who's asking, Rick, you want to talk
yeah,
about your work a little bit?
yeah, sure.
We have
Well,
somebody.
I am an artist. I can draw and all that. I'm not too bad. I'm not the best. I'm not the worst. Um, so a lot of my stuff, my comics, I'm getting other people to draw. I've for the two comics I'm working on right now that are actually on Indiegogo. I just sort of finished the Kickstarter. It didn't fund, but I'm in demand on Indiegogo because I did fund there a few months ago for the same books I was doing on Kickstarter. Um, and I'll show some of that stuff in a second after I spout off stuff. But um, yeah, I've been coloring, um, and I think I've become pretty good. You can check, say for yourself in a second here. Let me get my ugly mug off here. Okay. So there you see. You'll have to let me know if you ask any questions there because I can't see that and work on. Or maybe I'll do this. I know how to do this. There we go.
He hasn't had any new questions yet. The last thing Leto said was, "I thought no, this is great. Check marks are usually journalists or influencers, so some abuse it and pass around fake news. I'm for it."
Yeah,
So that was really in regards to what we were just talking about with the whole
yeah.
check mark story.
So this is the cover for issue 2. I may be changing the look of the logo, the name, logo, lettering, whatever you want to call it. Um,
Continue, Rick. While you're doing that, I'm going to step away from the computer for a moment. I'll be right back.
okay, I'm just readjusting this a little. If it's changed on the thing there, it's so I can have the chat on the side. I've squished it a little, so I'll probably distort it slightly. Um, so yeah, there's a page. I've got some of this stuff I've colored live on my channel, so you could go back and watch it that way. I'm down to the last 8 pages here. Probably either late this week or early next week, you're gonna see 5 to 10 minute videos of me showing speed paint of coloring this stuff, and then of course I will be um, doing some sort of dialogue over it. All these pages. The guy that did this, his name's Efren Crespo. You'll even see me go and do some minor corrections on this stuff. Well, sometimes minor, sometimes major. This is the second issue of Canadian Shield where he's actually facing a villain. So there's some of that. What are some of this stuff I don't want to. There's me for in sort of a makeshift Green Lantern outfit. There's a pumpkin I carved on Saturday night. And if you have any questions, Leto, just put them in the chat. I can see them. Um, this is going to be the cover. I got to do a coloring for this. This is going to be issue 2. There's going to be an advertisement in the back. Well, this is the cover for issue 2 for Snowdrift, my second character. Which there's cover number 1 for issue 1, which, like I said, is on Indiegogo. And this is almost ready to actually go. I'm just going over all the pages and getting some minor stuff done. If you look close, there's some colors that are out of the line here. So I'm going over all my pages, making sure that's all done. And if you look here, there's a little brown that needs to be done in the hair. So going over, filling all that sort of stuff and getting all these minor little things. Although, and then there's panels like this that need a little bit more shading and lighting for that I'm going to be going and doing, getting everything done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Over the next.
Rick, I know you have a wrench, so if you want to share any links too, don't forget you can share the links too.
Yeah, I guess I'll put the Indiegogo link in. I am on Twitter. If you want to follow me, I am of course here on YouTube too. If you want to subscribe, let's see, I can get a link to my channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also Leto has a channel of his own here where he's a bit of a VTuber, and he usually in the mornings morning's my time. I think it might be early afternoon, but I think it's like 12 noon where you're at, Rick, where he does or Leto will do basically gameplays. He'll play like KOTR. He play some games on there. The VTuber, so if you want to check him out, if you happen to.
Yeah, I just went over and subscribed to him.
All right. And Leto, you've got a wrench too, so if you want to share any links as well, feel free to do so, my friend.
I just play games and catch up with friends. I do a little game playing off air. I have another channel called Pied Piper of Hamilton where I've done gameplay over there. It's only got like 50 or 60 some odd subscribers. And also, I've done little videos about Canadian snacks. I've got about 50 or 60 of those. So yeah, there's all different pages here. There's a page. She got frozen in ice for like 70 years, 70, 80 years. She's woken up. He was giving her CPR. She wakes. She slaps him because she's a woman from the 50s. Men just don't go around kissing girls like that. And he's like, "Yo, woman, that's not what happened in here. You were like dead or frozen or something like that. I don't know exactly, but you weren't exactly breathing. I thawed you out and gave you mouth to mouth. Yeah, I saw you.
It's kind of funny. She pulled Captain America.
Yeah, a little bit of a play on that. Thanks for subbing.
Cool. I went ahead
Yeah,
and okay.
yeah, but instead of where Captain of America is found by there's sort of half a search for him, but half not. Where they
Mhm.
went found him or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's all a big to do. She just gets revived by this guy that was near where she got buried under a bunch of snow from a freak storm like 70 years later. She's revived and she's helped to get back on a normal life, or
Mhm.
what she thinks is going to be a normal
But
life.
the culture shock is gonna probably really be something for her, though, right?
I don't touch on it as much as I'd like to, that I probably should.
Well,
Well,
because
you're
the
gonna,
culture of the '50s, as you know, was very different from the culture of today.
yeah, yeah. Like, for this, like in this first one, I just more get to the point. Okay, she got revived. She's got her place. She started her life, and then by the end of it, she finds out that over these 70 years being capped in this, been put in the snow, under that snow and ice and all that, the snow and ice have become part of her. She can now control it.
Hmm.
No,
Hi.
she doesn't. She doesn't have a super soldier serum. No, she has cold based powers. So
So,
uh,
did she get her powers the same way Captain America? No.
so
If anything, I would think you would draw more of a comparison that she got her powers more akin to how maybe, um, at least in the DCAU version of him, how how like Mr. Freeze got his cold based powers. More due to exposure to cold and it kind of integrating into his body than anything else.
yeah, well, that's half sort of how it happened. Although Mister Freeze uses guns, he doesn't actually shoot it from its bodies.
Yeah.
But the comparison is more for Captain America. Is more, Captain America was put on ice for like 60, 70 years, whatever.
Right.
It's been different over the years because of you know how long it's been since he's you know Second World War to when they started doing this stuff again.
Mhm.
But as you see here, it's showing her at her new job. She's a waitress, you know, big way down from being some sort of Canadian scientist, with her own expedition in the Arctic. But then you have this slow night where these thugs just come in to rob the place. They're like, "Listen up, we're taking all the money, and so you don't call the police early, and we can get away. We're throwing you all in the freezer." And and
Was
then
that the start of the story of them being thrown in the freezer?
yeah, and then they're locked in. They grab the cash, and then they take off. And then of course everybody, these employees are all in the freezer. Did her PTSD kick in? Yes. I'm not sure what you. She doesn't have PSTD,
Hmm.
shell shock or whatever. But anyway, her and the other employees are trapped in the freezer. They're all passing out from the cold. She's just, like, what the hell? I'm not being affected. Why am I not being affected by this cold? I don't feel cold.
Well, Leto is asking, did her PTSD kick
No,
in?
because oh
No, because
no,
she
she
wasn't nice so long.
these are Christian comics, and I'm trying not to be too heavy-handed with the Christian stuff in them. But it's God that has made the ice and sort of what Mike was saying with Mr. Freeze part become a part of her, but she can feel, I guess, normal stuff, but she doesn't really feel cold. So God has sustained her and sort of also allowed the cold and ice to become a part of her. So yeah. So everybody's passing out. She's wondering what the heck's happening. She's frustrated about being in there, and everybody passed out but her. She starts jiggling the door, and then suddenly snow ice starts forming around the lock, the door handle, and all that, and coming out till it spreads on the whole door. She's like, "Oh my god, did I do that?" And then she starts to pound on the door, and voila, boom! The door comes crumbling down. Uh, so she basically ended up making the door basically ice, and she she burst the ice, and also some, I guess, made some snow at the same time since the snow wasn't there. And I can't show down further because there's it shows her in costume for the first time in color. I do have a black and white of that, I think. If I can find it in black and white, I will show it. Because I do not want to show the colored version. I want people to see that hopefully for the first time in the comic. Or first, well, you've seen her on the cover, but in the story, the first time in costume. I don't think I can. I'd have to download the.
So Leto, if you're still here, one of the things we were talking about earlier was, with it being Halloween and stuff, is like favorite Halloween specials, Halloween animated specials, favorite maybe like spooky type cartoons. You want to share any memories you have growing up of watching any like kind of Halloween themed, like either Halloween specials themselves, like maybe it's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, or any kind of spooky type cartoons that you might have watched, like Scooby Doo, or anything involving those meddling kids or anything like that. You want to share any of that, Leto? You still here? I never really liked Halloween. Uh, so even as a kid, you didn't like getting all the candy or anything like that, Leto? All right. Well, all right. So never went out. No, we buy candy and eat the stuff we bought. Okay, rather than just handing it out, instead of going trick or treating, you just figure, oh, well, just go buy it and eat it, right? Um, Never handed it out because Well, that's our candy, that fella. Um, yeah. Well, I mean, but you didn't even watch any kind of like even Halloween episodes of cartoons. Like, you don't watch much Scooby Doo or Jabba Jaw or anything like that, or those meddling kids or Casper or anything like that. And Casper had some newer shows. I think there was a show in the '90s with Casper that featured Casper as well. Hmm. Yeah, I think I'm getting to the point where I feel like I'm starting to
Yeah.
get talked out.
Yeah. Uh, let's see. Yeah, we've been on an hour and a half, but I'm gonna. There is the line art for the last page.
All right, go ahead and take a shot. Oh, highlight that real.
So her in costume.
I would usually wear black and dark stuff, but that's year round. All right. All right. Well, all right. Well, unless there's anything else anybody wants to bring up or anything like that, I think it's a good time to start winding down a bit.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's hour 31. So by the time we get through like all the neat history stuff and stuff like that, um, we should be pretty much, you know, should be about hour 45, I'd say. So
Or hour 40 for sure.
yeah,
Which isn't too bad with just two of us.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was hoping we'd have RJ on to to get more into the those meddling kids stuff and stuff like that, but just didn't happen. That's okay though.
Oh, it's a good
We
thing.
still were,
Somebody
we were
showed up.
still able to make it work as best we could. Um, all right. Well, anyways, I think as I said, that was another thing. The comic may be Christian, but the curves say otherwise. Yeah, it's kind of funny because now Rick, you know who Doc Blaylock is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, he had a stream earlier today, and I went on it, this morning, and for those of you who don't know, Doc Blaylock has a comic book coming out called Pariah Blood.
Blood of
Pariah.
Patriots or Champions. Now, is
Yeah,
that his book or is that somebody else's?
that's his book. Yeah, it's the one he wrote. Pariah. It's basically about a witch, about a woman who basically saw something she shouldn't have. Gangsters went after her and basically tried to abuse her and kill her, but she survived, and it was revealed she was a witch, and there was all hell to pay for vengeance. But I asked him earlier because I was curious about that. I was curious because he's a Christian too. He's a Christian too. I asked him, well, have you gotten any flack about writing a book about witchcraft and all that? He said, nope.
Yeah, well, the question is who knows that he's doing it of people around him that are
Yeah.
his Christian friends. But like for me, you know, yeah, it's a Christian book, but that doesn't mean it can't be good art. There
Mm-hmm.
are lots of sexy Christian women out there, and why not? Some of them become superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. All right. Well, as I said, we're going to start winding down here now. About an hour 34, coming up on an hour 35. So today being Halloween, of course. Monday, October 31st, 2022. Why don't, good idea. All right. So, anyways, why don't we go ahead and take a look back at this day in each history? History! Okay, let me just do one thing real here.
We got to get you a good little intro. Make a little intro for you to do that, where you just hit a button and this little thing plays.
Anyways, well, actually, we used to do that more when Backo was still here, where anytime he always gets to go, history! Anyways, today, as I said, is Monday, October 31st, 2022. So let's go ahead and take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. So,
This day in Nietzsche history.
first up, now, Rick, this might be one you might be a bit more interested in because this is actually from your neck of the woods, as it were. So we go back to 1972. As on this date in 1972, Ryan Larkin's Street Music was released on this date back in 1972, 50 years ago today. It was an animated short film by Ryan Larkin, produced by the National Film Board of Canada. It is an animation of, quote, music as performance, unquote, in which actions of the film's characters are choreographed to the music of street musicians.
Okay, I may or may not have seen this, but of course, in some sort of replays or whatever. But as you can tell, that's a little bit before I was born. So
but I figured you might have heard about it because, of course, it was, as I said, from your neck of the woods, from up in Canada there.
yeah.
Soon after returning from the 42nd Academy Awards in 1970, for which his animated short film Walking had been nominated, Larkin was loaned by the NFB to a Vancouver art school, where he stayed for 8 months conducting animation workshops. He would travel to each student's studio to direct them, one of which was a group of street musicians. These street musicians were the origin of the idea for the film, as Larkin had stated that they would make a great focal point for my abstract images. All right, so I guess there's the DVD cover for the film right there, Street Music.
Yeah, like I said, I may or may not have seen this. Running
One of the
time 9
figures in the
minutes.
film right here, huh?
Oh, just seeing that it said running time of 9 minutes.
Yeah, it was an animated short film. So on this date back in 1972, the Canadian animated short film Street Music was released. All right, moving on to the next piece of Nietzsche history. We go back 40 years ago today, as on this date, 40 years ago today, from Orlando, Florida, Dusty Rhodes would defeat Jimmy Garvin for the NWA Florida Southern Heavyweight title. At this point, of course, NWA was still running as more or less as a governing body with a bunch of regional affiliates. So on this day, Dusty Rhodes would defeat Jimmy Garvin, who would later become known as Jimmy Jam Garvin, as one half of the Fabulous Freebirds in the late 80s there. Dusty Rhodes would defeat him for the NWA Florida Southern Heavyweight title in Orlando, Florida, for the NWA Florida promotion. So with that, we have one more piece of Nietzsche history to look at here, which is a little more recent, of course. As on this date in 2001, 21 years ago today, the first issue of Ruse by CrossGen, or from CrossGen, Um, went on sale on this date for $2.95. 32 pages, of course, written by Mark Wade, penciled by Jackson Weiss. Michael Perkins did the inking. Dave Lang here did lettering, and Laura DeGuy Martin did the coloring. So on this date, back in 2001, the first issue of Roots went on sale from CrossGen Con. This art, from what I had looked at when I looked this thing up, this particular title ran for 26 issues, which for like a small, maybe lesser known company like CrossGen, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good run for for like kind of a more of a smaller company than not a mainstream company. Um, all right, so with that, remind everybody, of course, I'll be back here tomorrow night. We'll be back to reporting on the niche news of the day, of the weekend, and of the day. Also, this Friday, of course, is our historical comic reference. This Friday I'll have Chris and Diana Tomolovich on. We'll be continuing our look back to June of 1939. Back to comics that went on sale in June of 1939. This week we'll be looking at Fiction House. We'll be looking, of course, Jumbo Comics. You'll be looking at, of course, the two main features we'll be focusing on. Of course, will be Sheena of the Jungle and Weird Stories of the Supernatural. With the Secret Diary of Dr. Hayward. And then Rick, you're going to actually be with me the following Friday on the 11th, right?
Yeah, I believe.
And we'll be continuing our coverage of June of 1939 then with Fox feature publication. We're going to be, of course, looking at, of course, we'll be looking at Mystery Men comics. Along with the first issue of that will be coming out, along with, of course, Wonder World.
I wonder whether Mystery Men comics will.
For a few minutes afterwards, so we just post game.
Yeah.
So with it, guys, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope you all enjoyed the show, and I will hopefully see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.
Later.